Yeah, I've been meeting. Exactly. I know, I into your office. I'm like, I mean, why am I too, but it's. Well, that's just it. Yeah, the improvements there, the same. I think I'm just been looking to that. Maybe the next couple of weeks we're gonna be more. Welcome, everyone. We are live on YouTube and to start the meeting. Before your chair, Kelly, starts the meeting, I will provide you with the land acknowledgement. We are, as I said, live streamed on YouTube. And we'd like to acknowledge with respect that we are meeting in Robinson Huron Treaty Territory, that the land on which we are gathered is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, known as Balating. Balating is the home of Garden River First Nation, Batchewana First Nation, and the historic St. Mary Métis County. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Item number 2 is declaration of pecuniary interest. Item number 3, the adoption of the minutes from last, the adoption of the agenda. If I got over a second. Okay, thank you. And a seconder, thank you. And all in favor of the agenda? On to the adoption of the minutes from the last meeting. We have a mover and seconder from the last meeting.
I'll move it.
Thank you. Seconder. And all in favor of the. On to item number 5, business arising. Any business arising?
I didn't think so. Otherwise on the agenda.
Okay, we'll move on to the accounts.
The accounts are still behind. The city is, we're always going to be behind. Just so you know, the statement is for March 31st. And I don't think anything spectacular happened financially in March. But we have just since then, because April is a new year for the provincial government, we have received, you'll notice on the next statement, MAP grants. So for all the projects that we talked about. So those did arrive, and for payments for certain amounts for those. But no, we slow but sure. We've done, as you can see, the user fee line, that year-to-date amount is, most of that is just little programs that we do, like all during January, February, March, our Fridays by the Fire, and then Easter egg hunt was on, and then we got snowed on, so I had to call. I drove in a white car that day in the snowstorm. I hope I get to work. But we had to do it the next week. So, but that's what user fees are. They're right for the first quarter are usually programming. Very few admission dollars for that. So the next quarter you will see a big difference in, because we charge admission now. We're open come 1st of June, we're open 7 days a week. So yeah. So nothing. Is there any question?
Okay, and I have a mover and seconder for the account. Thank you. And a seconder. Chapman. Okay, thank you. And all in favor of the account? Thank you. And on to item number 7, the Cruise report.
I just, last month, I did sort of like a little chart for you. That was to show you how many cruise ships were coming and bus tours and things like that. So we've done more contact with all of them to ensure that our programming, when they arrive, is all set. And if anyone off the board is interested, please let me know. The first Rhodes Scholar Dinner Theater program is coming up in, I think, June 2nd. It's that group always comes on a Friday night. And if you'd like to see the program, please let me know. We'll set you a place and you can come. It starts at 5:15 in the lobby, and we greet the busload of guests. And we do an introduction, some historic land acknowledgement, all of that, and then we go in the theater and we have Peter White and Joe Surratt as our entertainers. And they are songwriters and storytellers and connect us to our Charles Ermitainer and Shinwalk. That were the original stories for about half an hour while our guests have traditional food, because we do bannock bites and white fish and that sort of stuff. And then they go on a tour while we clean up and get ready for the main course back in the theater. And during dinner, while we're eating, it's a voyageur dinner, then when they return. And we talk about the fur trade and the site and the development of Sault Ste. Marie. And during dessert, they watch our orientation movie. So it's 3 hours solid for that program. So it's really, I encourage anyone that wants to come, just let me know. It's 12 of them this summer, so if you can't come to the first one, I can give you dates. And especially when there's smaller groups, they have 4 full bus loads, and then the others are smaller amounts. So any one of those smaller amounts, if you want to come and sit in, we'll be more than happy to have you. As you can see, we're starting to set up in here. We've had Mother's Day teas. Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week. This one is a Downton Abbey thing. And then we move into June with our lilac and lavender. And we have a big group coming from the Métis Nation of Ontario, which we try and keep connected to because of the history here and the Ermitainer children being Métis. And they're doing a big education conference in town, but they're doing part of it on our front lawn. So we're setting up tents for them. David has agreed to give us he's the master of the tents, and he stands and tells us, hold this pole here. The historic tents are quite a job, so I have asked the Métis group that needs them the next day to come and help. I'm asking a few others, but if anyone has Tuesday, the 6th of June off, the tents go up. They're going to stay up because we have poutine feast at the end of June. So, I'm just giving you that quick update because we don't meet till July now. So for our next meeting. But June 1st or around that date, we are 7 days a week. And I think I included you in on the email to the friends that's sort of introduced also how many summer students are now on board and all the summer grants we got. Provincial summer experience, we got a federal Young Canada Works, and so we had one in our budget line. So we've got 4 students actually, because we always borrow one from the Municipal Heritage Committee. So that student will do Municipal Heritage Committee work if needed, but they're housed here. So, yeah, so it's that time of year. Summer. in spring. So that's programs and event. The other update is, we have, and it's, I'll tell you more about it when we get to it. I think it's 7 point something on our, under the curator still. Policies, no, that's the minutes, hold on. It is asset management and user fees. So, I can move on to that.
Yep.
But is there any questions on the program currently?
If you can continue on.
So asset management, what I have done for you, because the historic site board has to sort of give approval to move forward. This is a list that is, you can. Not get the page for it. So asset management comes to me by the city, in a big chart like this. And it's all numbered, and so it's asset management number 1, which is the Ermitinger Old Stone House. And it starts with structure, and then it goes to yard, fencing, and boardwalks, and then it goes to the block house, the Heritage Discovery Center. And so what I had done is from the end of last year, from last year's board of directors, and then my spring walk around with staff, we pulled together this report for you that has the asset management. This is more for the management, the asset management number that it's identifying, and what we have accomplished and what is still outstanding. And then of course, the priorities from this are listed on that one page. And so what will happen from this, if you have questions or concerns, or if you've noticed something in passing that I have failed to put on the list, then this then goes, usually I think July, we start to prepare for next year's budget. And so this is one of the first things they ask for, and user fees. So that's why we're on today's agenda. So one of the things at the top of the list is outstanding, as you can see, is the roof replacement on the Old Stone House. And we did apply to National Cost Sharing Program with Parks Canada. And you have to be a National Historic Site. You have to identify the assets that they significantly say why you're a National Historic Site, which the hip roof of the Old Stone House is. But as with any funding program, the thousands of National Historic Sites not owned by Parks Canada all apply. So we did not get approved this year. We were just declined funding in April with their new budget. So we are still at $82,000, as you can see, to finish. And the reason that it's so much is that we want to do an asbestos abatement while we're at it. So there's where it doubles in price. So that's sort of top of the list to go on the asset management then. And then you could, I mean, if there was more money, I would say do the cedar tipped roof of the blockhouse at the same time, but it'll just depend. And these are in order, you know, what only my personal opinion of what needs to be addressed and when. So on the asset management. So the big ones are the remaining funding to request for the Old Stone House roof, then blockhouse roof, blockhouse windows, blockhouse log structure, We are this summer doing some log structure repair on this building. Because we're also doing cedar rail, split rail and the palisade repairs. That was all, as you can see, approved. In 2023 for us to do it this year. So we're getting some work done. The cedar logs have all been ordered and delivered already to the city. We have to order from out of town. There's no one locally. So, although we dealt with a local company. They have a St. Joe's Island sawmill that sorts it for us and got it here. So that's some of the summary. I tried to make it clean and simple so that you can see all the things that we're addressing or have addressed, what's outstanding, and what then my recommendations are for asset management to request from city council. Any questions?
Lifespan on the cedar roof,
Not as long as a
that's 20,
roof.
is it 24 now?
We have it's lasted almost 20 years.
We did it before, right?
Yeah.
A major.
Yeah, by the time we get to it, it'll be 2024, and we did it in 04. So,
Okay.
and now I mean, to keep the integrity of the house, it should be cedar shaped, but there are other historic buildings that are having replica of cedar that are gonna last longer, so I don't know, I have to talk to Virginia because I think she has that information from Municipal Heritage. What that product is, but it might also be more money, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like when you put in the new decking with that new decking that's never gonna rot.
Yeah.
The vinyl decking. So anyways, that is sort of maintenance, restoration, asset management, all lumped into one. I always tell everyone in our reports from the board and myself that we've got the two biggest artifacts. So, because the buildings themselves, I consider an artifact. So to keep them maintained. Yeah,
How much is the roof replacement alone without the asbestos abatement?
I think it came in at around the $75,000 to $80,000 with all the supplies and installation, everything. So, but, and we got 70,000 originally in 2021 from council to do just that. So,
To do just the roof,
and yeah, but
but how much is the asbestos abatement? Like if we didn't do the asbestos, how much is just the cedar roof? Is it like 30,000 or 40,000 just do the roof and then?
no, I'd say the 70,000 that was approved. So this is on this page here where AM 6 and 19 on the 70,000 was approved to do the cedar hip roof. But by the time we get to it, that price will go up a bit,
Yeah.
and then the abatement. So we're estimating
Oh, okay.
82,000 more. Back in 2021, the project cost for all of that was about 135. So, yeah. So it could, I mean, if worst comes to worst, we could do just the cedars, right? Considering there's an asbestos layer, we were thinking, nice. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, any questions on any maintenance? That's it.
we want to use for fees.
Well, with that, I'm just asking if you don't mind,
We need to move it sort of.
Mr. Chair, yes, if you agree on this order and priorities, that will go then to senior management within the city and the finance department for prep into next year's budget.
I can move on secretary for that, asset management, okay? And secretary, thank you. And all in favor? Okay, now on to the 13.
So every year around this time, we start to look again at the items that are going to council early. In the budget prep, or one of the items is user fees, so we start to look at next year. What we will charge for basic things like admission. And as you can see, we have quite a list. 2 pages of fees that we charge. So I've done a chart from 2019 to now for you, so you can see when we have adjusted fees and when we haven't. In last year, the Historic Sites Board did have quite a lengthy discussion on fees. And as you can see, the 2023 column then had a number of fees increased. So I've put in some notes for 2024. And that's just some recommendations from myself for the site. And we're open to any further suggestions or comment on user fees for the site. So one new one is going to be youth, which is $9, which is equal to what the Bush plans do. So, and it makes it easier for a student to come instead of paying full fare. So, and we're getting more and more bus tours coming, and we're doing. We subcontract. Right now, this year, we're doing the Blockhouse Cup. And it's their box lunches come with the Blockhouse logos all over the box. And they've managed to come in within the price range that we can afford, that we're charging back out to the bus tour companies. And so, and we then draw the link between the caterer and the Blockhouse. So, so that is a fee that needs to be added in for this year. And then it's just a few little tweaks here and there that we have noticed when we're trying to implement user fees. Any comments? Yeah.
I just, now for most of the events, like in general, the attendance has been really good, like sold out in different areas, right? Is there any event that you think is kind of, they don't do as well? Are you just increasing the fees for the ones that are well attended?
So we have had, like, last year we partnered in August with Atomica and tried to do a bees, blueberry, theme, bees, blueberry and beer or something. It was an addition to our blueberry weekend. So we normally just do a blueberry social, blueberry pancake breakfast, that sort of thing. And then we added one more component, and it wasn't a total success. So right at this moment, there's no plans to do that this year in August. So we either don't do it or we look at ways to improve the event. But the fee structure is still here. So if we're going to still do our blueberry social, our blueberry pancake breakfast, that's all in here under heritage, like the events and bookings. So heritage foods and things are all within there.
there's been no increase for the heritage luncheons or teas, is that, I'm looking at the right column?
So Fridays by the Fire, I'm proposing $18 in 2024. Heritage High Tea, our big like lilac and lavender kind
Okay,
of
so
thing.
that's 25 to 30
It's going
dollars.
to increase, that's my, just the price of groceries and
Yes,
everything.
everything's
So, and
increased.
we really do a lot of work to make the room look all fancy and.
And I know they're very well attended, but the price of everything has gone up,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
sounds right.
Yeah, I have a couple comments on this.
Yes,
If I can just kind of go through the heritage tea, dessert and beverage, is there a speaker that attends this event? And that's the one.
that one is more like strawberry social or blueberry, no.
Okay, that one I'm not sure if I agree that it should go up. But the next one, Heritage Fridays by the Fire, include the speaker, maybe we should put that in the description. Is that the Fridays by the Fire?
Yep, that has a speaker.
It says soup, biscuit, dessert and beverage. I recommend you put that as almost like a luncheon, learning lunch. Again, I would propose to put that up to 20, only because it's a flat rate and it's highly attended, there's a wait list, and you learn a substantial amount of information during those luncheons.
There's a historical talk for each
Yeah.
one,
And
which is
so
important.
it's so important, and I think those are really special. Over and above all the homemade items that are made for all the guests that are in here. The other thing is, too, I think the bricks were mentioned twice.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, the first time I found it, and then on the second page I have it,
Oh.
and then the price increase is $5. Again, maybe not everyone agrees, I'll just throw this out there, so that's a legacy project, your name is on it, it's there for a long time. And I'm wondering if it should go to an amount of 75 or 100. It is a huge legacy work that is permanent on our site. And people who are interested in that, I think, would be okay with that fee increase or not, that's my suggestion there. And then the bottom one here on page 9, muffins, coffee cake made on site, and fruit and beverage. That's 18, I'd almost recommend 20, because fruit and food costs are going up, and that's a bit different over and above heritage. And the heritage tea, which is a beverage and dessert. So it's the same price as something else that you're getting more for. And then a coffee urn. Says up to 50. I don't know what the costs are in that, you're there. And then I had a question about damage fee. And that's the fourth from the bottom on page 9. Is it a deposit or a fee? And what is it for?
So if we have a group that is using the facility more like a venue rental.
Yeah.
So weddings or a conference or those kinds of things. And one example is we had a family, I think, booked the theater for a family event. Sometimes we get celebrations of life or any number, 80th birthday party or whatever. And we had a child hit all the light switches, which are on a special Lutron. And at the time, we didn't have it covered in plexiglass, so you know, the hands just went down the light switches. And it was the kids, and
Yeah.
it was something to play with during the event that the family had done. So we did charge a fee, because we couldn't fix it.
So I'm wondering if that should be changed to damage deposit, and then it's a standard amount, because that is common practice. When you rent a room for a venue and then you should get it back within 24 hours after the event.
We could do that. Right now, it's sort of in a clause.
Yeah.
That,
Because there is such care to restore the buildings. They're costly, they're specialized products, they're specialized lumber, I don't know, you know the drill, specialized everything, you gotta order everything in, so. And then just make it a standard where you return the buck deposit within 24 hours after event or something like that. I don't know how that goes behind the scenes, but it's standard practice.
Mhm.
Something to
And I
consider.
can, I'll check with the other, before I put an amount in, I can check to see the other venues within the city, what they do for, if, especially like weddings and things like that, if there's a damage to deposit,
Mhm.
I'll find out.
Okay. Those are my suggestions. The other ones that were mentioned, I think I'm fine with them. And then the bus tours with box lunch and learning, whatever price you choose, this is a new offering, right?
Yes,
And then I'd almost put new right in front of it. Cool and new and. I mean, nobody wants price to go up, obviously with inflation and everyone's, money is tight, but. I'm looking at your asset management plan and money's tight over here too.
yeah,
And we're not nickeling and diming everything. I think the costs that you have mentioned are pretty reasonable.
I made note, so if everyone does agree, of those changes. So I put down 75 per brick instead of 65, that was your first amount.
With that one first, sorry, I can't hear you.
The brick,
Yeah, I don't know, I think that cost is great every year. I'm like, oh, I meant to get. So if I buy one, I'll do it at the higher cost. I don't mind because.
We're
it's
still
there
good
for a
this year.
long time.
I just have a question about the bricks out there. I know the winters are harsh. And some of these bricks have been damaged, I guess, are covered, like some of them you can't make out, some of them.
yeah, we have to actually get them power washed.
Okay.
So all the gravel and dirt and everything comes out of the engraving in the brick, so you can actually read
Oh,
them.
yeah.
And then we also evaluate which ones we may have to redo,
Okay,
because the original ones have been there since 1998. So we have to take a look.
because that could be a major cost too, which I.
Did you buy one originally?
I think we did buy one,
Yeah.
my husband, because
Yes, that's
keeps
right.
saying, let's go look at the brick, and I don't know where it is.
Out by the parking lot, by that little PUC building.
So I'll go take a look.
I think a lot of it's covered with sand right now.
Yes, they
So
so
one-
need cleaning. Yeah,
I think once.
and we just had an installation and we have this new company, the new company, which is Lock City. I did a lot of social media promotion
Yes.
to thank them because they didn't charge us this year. So it was a donation in kind. They were quite happy to get the contract. So, yeah,
Very nice.
And for the bricks, is there some sort of clause or contract or understanding that they're there forever, or is it like 25 years or 20 or? Is this building staying forever?
it's
Hopefully.
never really been said anywhere, not on any of the documents that we give someone that they purchase a brick or anything. Yeah, we've never.
Something to consider when, if the bricks are 20 to 30 years old, taking up space, or, they're very costly to replace. I truly do not know what the costs are, but it's a very cool project.
Right now, it's sort of been understood that it's there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. We call it the walkway to history.
Wonder if it should be like a 25-year thing for, you have a break for 25 years and then you repay it. After 25 years or something. I
We
just have
still have
a,
lots of bricks to sell, though.
Like,
The walkway's not full. I think when we reach the full part. I keep saying when we're full, we should have some by the, like, the front door that could be the. Where to buy, or, on some anniversary. Disney used to do it, like on their 50th anniversary, you had a special spot, you could buy a brick in Disney's walkway. You had a question, sorry?
I just had a comment on the way the chart is laid out. I would like to see like the costing beside some of these things. So that we could figure out whether the user fee is being charged, like, are we making money on that user fee, or how much are we making on it, or. You know, are we making like 20% or 50% or 100% or whatever
I
on the
can,
fee itself.
so
So
for,
we're not just pulling
Yeah.
numbers out of our heads and saying, well, $18 sounds okay, but. Is it okay? Is it should be 20, 25?
I have Excel spreadsheet, so I know what the groceries cost us.
Exactly, I know you got it, so it'd be nice to. Beside the user fee, see what we're doing, see where.
But some of them are standard and keeping in line with other attractions.
Yeah.
like
Yeah, and like admissions,
And break down all the.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, those things,
And
yeah,
then food, I think, they change day to day, week to week, month to month, so I think rounding it up is pretty reasonable, or rounding it to whatever number that you think is good. I trust that,
now, it's hard. Like I can do that, but then there's like my Excel spreadsheets will say, well. The soup for Friday by the Fire thing is. At no cost because it was everything we harvested from the garden. So
yeah,
the only costs then are labor. So
but there is a cost to that. Is your
wages,
soil maintenance, you have a groundkeeper,
Yeah.
you have hours that are put into, maintaining it over 4 months. Harvesting, cooking, there is a cost. to that.
yes, that's what I mean, like all the labor charges, but not to go and buy them.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, overall, there's a percentage of utilities, there's, rate wages and stuff. There are overall costs and, operational costs, so. But
It's a lot of
for
events, so.
down like, even it maybe this fall, if we could take a look at all that, it, might not be in time for this. But if you wanted to, like I said, I do Excel spreadsheets for everything, so.
and I noticed like some of them were going up and some of them are just staying the same. It's just like, I wonder if it should be just like a global breeze.
That's something
Or
that has
2%
been,
every
yeah,
year or something.
you're right, the 2% global across the board. Some of our facilities are do that, like, so. Let's say it was the marinas or the River de Bonheur tent. The municipality just says they should be going up 2%. So
Yeah.
all the fees get done 2%. But it's when we're such a specialty, previous boards have said, why aren't we doing 2% globally? But it just depends. And so it's always been a debate, so it can be done. We have had, even this year, you can see the 2023 column, the adult admissions group rate and the bus tour group rate. So seniors group rate is the same as the bus tour, adult group rate is 13, so. I have had discussions with some of the contracts. Let's say from the cruise ships and things like that, and I quoted them $13. Because on some of those cruise ships are Rhodes Scholars, which means we do a lot more work for that group coming off the cruise ship because they wanted more educational basis. So I said, well, our group rate is $13. And the subcontractors of the land-based excursions said, well, that's up 30%, and I said, well, we haven't raised prices in a number of years for admission. So, like one went from in 2019 was the last time we raised them, so anyways. We get those kinds of questions, so it's hard sometimes when we do, everything goes up 2% versus. Doing it like this, and then we get the questions, if we said every year it's just 2% or whatever, then I can do that, but. It's up to you.
had any of the prices that we have increased over the past couple of years deterred anybody or groups or,
No, I had just like that one conversation, but nobody on anything else, no.
like, did you see a decrease in numbers or, requests for any of the workshops?
No.
Because if that ever were to come up, that was a deterrent from the public to experience this place, that I'd be interested to know that if that does ever occur.
Yeah.
Due to a substantial increase or due to a small increase, right? Because we have made changes in the past couple of years.
No, I had a phone call today. I think they were looking for free space for 2 evenings coming up at the end of May for the theater. And I said, I have to charge, like, it's after hours. We're right at this particular moment, so all the summer staff get on board and I can spread everybody out. And once they're trained, so it means I'm coming in. So I have to charge a fee, so they probably, I'm guessing they're not coming. Because they wanted it for free, but.
Life's not free.
So. If the amended. Comments are good, and you want to move forward with this. We do need to look at approving a resolution.
Okay. Mover and seconder for that.
And I can move it, I just don't know if everyone agrees with the changes that I recommended, so I just don't giving ideas, so I don't want that to be.
Well, I can tell you. It was Fridays by the Fire to $20. It was the brick to 75. It was the muffins, coffee, fruit to 20. And it researching the damage deposit. Those were the ones I wrote when you spoke. And offered suggestions.
Yeah, 75 or 100, and then the other one was Heritage Tea, I'm not sure if that should go up. Because it's the same price for their offering that offers so much more, so it's not comparable.
Heritage Tea is more our strawberry social and blueberry social, so it's, there's not a lot.
Well, it's
So
right
lilac and
beside,
lavender, will that go up as well then?
Lilac and lavender will be the high tea, the fancy sandwich, and I'm suggesting 30.
only because you get dessert and beverage for the same price as soup, dessert and beverage and a biscuit and a speaker.
Oh, but you suggested $20 for that. For the lunch and learn, Friday by the Fire.
Still not sure if that should go up, that's here nor there, I'm not gonna. I'm okay with with whatever.
I mean, I don't mind keeping another year, the $15 for dessert and beverage, and then the next one right below it, $20. Just because there is a substantial, the lunch and learn Friday by the Fire is more,
No, I don't think.
if you wanted to.
It should at least go up something. Cause like if it goes from, like if we do 15 in 2023 and then in 2025, we want to make it $20, then it's gonna say, well, it's $5 more. And then like, that's when you start to scare people, right?
Yeah.
So like if it just gradually goes up, then they don't notice it so much.
Oh, they'll notice it. It's money, everybody notices it.
Well, you'll
Yeah.
notice it because it's the same people that come to them, but Friday by the Fire are exceptional and they're very, price is very low for that. So if I'm willing to pay like $2 more or $4 more, then I'm hoping others will too, because it sells out within a day of you announcing it.
Exactly.
Because the price is so good. But the Heritage Tea, unless there was something extra special or rational, why we're raising the price? That's all.
Yeah, my thought was that food wise, it is soup and biscuit. Like you're not getting a real main course. You're getting a big bowl of soup. Yes, I know. A hearty bowl of soup.
Okay, can we, I don't know, so you're proposing that the Fridays by the fire, the big bowl of soup and the biscuit
And the speaker and
and the speaker. Like, you keep it at 15 and then the high tea with the fancy sandwiches, and there is a lot to that as well, goes to 30.
No, sorry, those three items, there's a
They're all gonna be
heritage, heritage
increased
tea is either 15 or 18, like I proposed. Then the next one, Friday by the Fire, is now, we're looking at 20 now. And then Heritage High Tea, which is the real big fancy one, is 30.
$30.
It's either 18, 20, and 30, or it's 15, 20, and 30. And Charlotte's saying maybe Fridays by the Fire should even be 25.
I didn't say 25.
No?
No, 20.
20,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so
Yeah.
15, 20, and then 30 for the high tea.
The IT is on a weekend, so you have to have the staffing. And the Heritage by the Fire during the weekdays, the regular staffing here. And the Heritage Tea, I'm okay with your 18, that's fine by me. I don't wanna hold up this meeting, so that's all, those are my recommendations, so.
I agree with that.
And the 30, I'm
18, 20,
fine with.
18, 20, and 30.
So they all go up by a little bit.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're sellouts, like,
Yes.
they're well attended and all that, so I don't see the big problem.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Hopefully, they will be at the higher price next year.
Right, we'll know next, we'll know 2020.
2024. Okay. So, any further questions?
So just gonna move her and seconder for to approve all this.
Oh,
Okay. Seconder.
Second.
Oh, I had Charlotte joke.
Okay.
Okay, why not?
Yep.
touch my name all over that.
You're always the one with lots of input on those.
Well, because all the costs to repair the buildings are so high, all the costs are special, the contractors come in from out of town and we have a very elite group of people that come in and it's a good price. And I still want them to come back. I love all the people that join in on the luncheon.
The lunch and learn on
Yeah,
Fridays,
luncheon,
yeah.
you don't listen to them every week. They're just amazing.
We're gonna try a couple this fall, which we've never done. It's
Okay.
always been an exclusive January, February, March.
Right.
When it's been low attendance at the site. It was one thing we created to bring in locals, keep the place going during the winter. And they're a hit.
Yeah.
So,
I never know what I'm gonna learn, but when I go, I'm like, I learned stuff I didn't think I needed to learn, but I'm happy to. So,
Okay, all in favor of the user fees? Thank you. Okay, on to key performance indicators.
so every quarter, you'll get this little chart. The colorful chart on the last page of your agenda package. And it, again, because 2017, 18, and 19 were our best years. At the site so far, I keep them in the chart. And then you can see the pandemic years. And in those years, you can also see that we introduced digital engagement and virtual programming. And social media, so. Just because we had to. We were doing even school tours that way over Zoom. So, anyways. My page is cut off. Is yours page cut off? On this one that I printed, yeah. Anyway, it gives you a small indication of January, February, March. And how we've done. Now, what you'll notice. In another 3 months. At the end of June. Will be the increase in a lot of these because of. the bus tours and the cruise ships and general site visitors will start to increase. So it is interesting to see the seasons.
The email version didn't get cut out, so
No,
if you need
okay.
to know the numbers, I can hear.
Yeah, I have them here too.
That it was just, I just presented quarterly to you. When you do look at it, you're more than welcome to ask questions. But it's one of those stats we do. Eventually it gets into the annual report, but it also goes quarterly to senior management so they can start to see. Plus, tourism through St. Marie, actually, I just sat with them because we're looking again at this year's cruise ship numbers. And how many are coming to visit from the cruise ship? Yes, there's lots docking and parking and whatever, but are we going to get them? So we also take a look at anticipated numbers and then what will, at the end, we'll see what the actuals are, those kinds of things, so that tourism to St. Marie can also help in those areas, the same with the bus tours. And they're the ones that go, I call it bus tour speed dating. They go, it's called Rendezvous, and it's an event for group tour operators. And then Tourism Sault Ste. Marie goes with, they call them itineraries. And it says Sault Ste. Marie, you can come and do this in the Sioux, this, and this, or you can take a different one and do this, and this. They have about 7 itineraries for Sault Ste. Marie and Algoma. And they really do speed date those companies. They have about 10 minutes with each person. And they sit and they talk about Sault Ste. Marie and they sell it. And then they meet with a different group tour operator. So the bus tours we get are the result of them selling Sault Ste. Marie. Yeah. That's what the stats are for, so we can target markets and all those kinds of things. All the tourism lingo I've learned over the years. So that's just, you get that every quarter.
Any questions? Okay, on to municipal heritage committee. I was not in attendance. Bill, we have a comment on that?
It was a relatively short meeting this past week. But yeah, we were there for the half where it's heading. Did defer the what's this? Yeah, the municipal heritage board we deferred because there's some legal issues with that. Before some of the report did get sent off to the new rules. Subcommittee task force updates, we are discussing about doing something very digital this year. So we're gonna, yeah, we're gonna be going with those.
What was that? Sorry?
Yeah, the doors open towards
Oh, yeah.
did previously last year, I believe.
Yeah, we did it in
Yeah.
October.
It's gonna be purely digital this year instead of in person. Just waive that like it's $1,500 fee to participate with it. As far as I was aware, there was no new business that day. And the subcommittee task force was also to do with doors open. We talked a little bit more about the heritage trees, and I think we'll be bringing that at the next meeting because we are gonna see how the James walk for the heritage trees went and kind of get some more information about that. Brian Bell was doing that walk.
If anyone's in from that committee is interested, there is somewhere in the world within Sault Ste. Marie an actual booklet, Heritage Trees. But it's like 40 years old.
I think we were discussing trying to find that.
And I've been looking here because I had a copy, but I keep looking, haven't found it yet.
What is it called?
It's just the Heritage Trees in Sault Ste. Marie.
Heritage trees.
Heritage Trees, yeah.
Trees.
Our, like, we have a tree out front here on Queen Street,
Yeah.
well, like, that's out back, I guess, the front door there. Oh, Amber alert. So the one by the gate on Queen is about, we believe, about 175 years old, 200 years old, so it could be we think as old as the house. But there is a book, so I don't know if the museum has it or it's so.
Do you remember what it looks like a little bit?
Oh, it was like a photocopy paper version,
Okay.
little booklet
Okay,
someone made.
but now because Paul was pretty
Are
good
they
at
looking
keeping
to
everything.
update them?
Yeah,
I'll take a
oh my
look.
Yeah, looking to update it, and I guess. I don't think anybody knew about that little booklet when we first got this task force all together, but it was this last meeting that Virginia mentioned that you might have a copy of that book, because it was.
Yeah, I
somewhere
told
in there.
her that somewhere, and now like we're going through the collection this summer. So maybe we'll find it.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to learn more about that. Yeah,
We'll have it at next Friday by the fire.
and you'll be speaking on it.
Somebody did it at the James Walk though, right?
Yeah, it was Brian Bello. I think he did it on Friday, I think it was Sunday.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what his talk was on and which tree.
Are they protected? I'm sorry, Matt, I've never heard of this, but.
I think that's what we're trying to aim to do with this task force, is set up some sort of protection team.
Yeah.
Especially since so many are on private property and stuff like that, just trying to take example from other municipalities like Toronto, who has a similar program with
Because there's a few trees in town that are spectacular and they have a story behind them. And I don't think it's just by word of mouth, who knows what. and
exactly, yeah.
I'd be interested to hear more about that for sure.
Get an updated version of that little
Yeah.
book. would be
Yeah.
Beneficial.
Parks Canada has the trees listed as a. They get like an asset, am I right?
I think so.
Yeah, because you have to actually budget money to have trees taken care of every year.
Yeah.
And, yeah, but you'll notice it's not working very well. Between the beavers on South St. Mary's Island. And Dutch elm seeds.
Meeting, do they?
Oh,
Thanks.
thought about the beavers.
Okay, on to item number 9, the new business. Any new business?
Not official on for the agenda, but I do have out on the table for you Wacky Wings reward cards. The friends of wanted me to put these out here because they get a donation from Wacky Wings once a year from the points off these cards. So if you visit that place, take a card. Just part of their little fundraiser for us.
So our next meeting would be July.
Not next month, it's July now. And that'll get us through. Well, I'll send emails if you want to be part of the Teen Feast. We will be encouraging everyone to come out for that. I think Savannah, you've been here as the bracelet and clicker person. We like to know how many come on site. Poutine, the vendors are in Heritage parking lot. If anyone's been down to the event but they come into the property for band and music and entertainment and the beer gardens and kids games. All that sort of, and vendors, I think we have like crafters and Algoma Makers Market and all of that on the lawn, so. We count how many are coming onto the property for our stats. And we have another group trying to keep track of how many are at the vendors. So that's our next big event that we usually try and call upon everyone to come out just for a few hours and help us, especially at the game.
It's the July 1st weekend, right?
It's that July
It's the
1st
same.
weekend, but it's 4 days.
Right.
So, yeah. So that's really the next big thing, and then we calm down for a while.
Okay, so our next meeting will be July 12th. And we have a move executive for adjournment.
I got Brittany in a second, is that okay?
Airplanes, that's probably why.
Okay, all in favor of adjournment? It's adjourned.
I'm gonna turn off the YouTube. Please, if you wanna stay and have a cookie and chat, go ahead.
Um,